The anime is just getting to the amazing info dump chapters of 956 to 957, so I figured it's a good time to post what I make of the information learned from these chapters, as well as how they may set the stage for our final war. Also, there is an additional fringe, bold theory of mine at the end, smiley face. First, I would like to begin with what I believe was some clever foreshadowing by Oda that the Reverie would have an incident that involved Alabasta, the military, the Rev Army, and possibly the Red Hair Pirates. So we get another classic world-building chapter, 823, that has many of the world's characters getting ready to depart for the Reverie. Among them is the Kingdom of Alabasta, which features a shit ton of death flags for Cobra, as well as this bit of dialogue from Igaram. Take note of the three oddly specific things he's worried about: a meteorite falling on Vivi, a monstrous bird carrying her away, and a sniper with their sights on her. Conveniently enough, these powers all made a debut in the story shortly before in Dressrosa, Fujitora making a meteorite fall from the sky, Karasu producing giant birds that carry Sabo away, Usopp awakening his observation Haki to snipe Sugar from extremely far away. Why list these three specific things to worry about? I think Oda was using it as foreshadowing of the events that were to take place at the Reverie. As we know from the break between Act I and Act II, Blackbeard relays the newspaper report that the revolutionaries and the admirals clashed at the Reverie. As you see in the background, you can see two of the three aforementioned people about to clash, Fujitora and Karasu. In between Act II and Act III, we are relayed that there is a certain incident involving Alabasta, to which Shirahoshi is immediately worried about Vivi. What of the sniper? While Usopp was obviously not there, a certain mysterious pirate was, who happens to have a highly skilled sniper in his crew, who just happens to be Usopp's father. While Usopp hasn't been shown at the Reverie, I think there may be a chance he could be the sniper with sights on her, not as an enemy though. Imo, in Igaram's worries. As Usopp said in Dressrosa, he's best as a backup. I wouldn't be surprised if Shanks has his sniper present as backup with all those tall buildings around in Marijois. So I believe Igaram's seemingly hyperbolic worry about Vivi was foreshadowing that three factions representing these powers would clash, with Vivi and Alabasta caught in the middle. The meteorite from the sky represented by Fujitora and the Marines, the birds carrying her away represented by Karasu, and the Rev Army, the sniper with their sights on her represented by Usopp, and the Red Hair Pirates, all factions who were present at the Reverie. I'd like to take a moment to review what we know of what events occurred at the Reverie. The Gorosei speak of Cobra's request of them and refer to him as a traitor. The one known as Imo has chosen Vivi's picture as an apparent light to erase from history. Shanks meets with the Gorosei to discuss a pirate. The admirals and the Revolutionary Army clashed in their mission to retrieve Kuma. As reported by Blackbeard, the Shishibukai system was abolished. There was a fatality. As reported by Morgans, there was also an attempted murder, as reported by Morgans. Alabasta is somehow involved with the events that transpired, as reported by Garp. Sabo is also involved in events, as we learn from the reactions of many people that know him, including shock of his comrades and sadness from his family. Whatever has transpired, Blackbeard decides to mobilize to claim something before the government can get their hands on it. Finally, Walpole also calls Morgans to leak some additional intel. More or less, I think these events are almost all directly connected. Here is what I believe happened. Imo and the Gorosei decided it was time to eliminate Cobra and Vivi. As Alabasta houses the ancient weapon Pluton, They know of their allyship to the Straw Hates, who is led by a dreaded D, and Cobra is asking questions about the history they seek to hide, ultimately making them a growing threat to their power. They even refer to their family as traitors. Shanks meets with the Garosei to talk to them about a pirate. I believe this pirate to be Blackbeard. Similar to what he tried to do with Whitebeard, he is attempting to stop the Garosei from doing anything hasty because of the threat Blackbeard poses, and he'll take advantage of any chaos, in true Blackbeard fashion. The revolutionaries attack at the Reverie in order to rescue their comrade, Kuma. The Garosei see this as the perfect opportunity to enact their plans to eliminate Cobra and Vivi in the chaos and place the blame on the revolutionary army. They succeed in killing Cobra, who has been riddled with death flags. This is the fatality that Morgans was talking about reporting. However, they were unsuccessful in eliminating Vivi. I believe that she escaped with the revolutionary army. However, Sabo stayed behind to ensure their escape and was captured. He was determined to die beforehand. The government used this to say that they abducted her / she is missing following an attempt on her life. This is the attempted murder Morgans spoke of. This is why the revolutionary army is shocked and Sabo's family and friends are sad. For the revolutionary army, we were told by Koala that the enemy was the celestial dragons, not the world government. An important distinction, because news of Sabo killing Cobra and hurting / harming Vivi would certainly shock his comrades as it undermines their mission. However, they haven't been able to contact them to confirm the facts. To his family, it looks like Sabo has assassinated a world leader and is now in the government's hands, making them insanely sad. The importance of the world government eliminating Cobra and Vivi and being able to successfully place the blame on the revolutionary army allows them to move into Alabasta unimpeded, giving them the opportunity to get one of their most sought-after objectives, the ancient weapon Pluton. If it is known the world government was responsible for their deaths, they wouldn't have the excuse to move into the country. But being able to place the blame on the revolutionary army allows them to fill that vacancy without protest from others of it being some sort of coup. Which brings me to my next point. This is why Blackbeard is mobilizing. He said he wants to get his hands on it before the government does. He is speaking of Pluton. He knows the government will look to seize control of Alabasta, but he'll claim the prize Pluton. At this point, you may ask why the government was trying to apparently cover up this news and not have Morgans publish it, given it paints the revolutionary army in the bad light. Well, I don't think they were actually trying to cover it up. The government has a number of powerful resources at their disposal, but they sent a lone nameless fodder CP agent. Why? This is big news. Morgans we're talking about, the man lives for scoops. Seriously, look at this fearless man. In fact, CP0 knows that sending a lone agent shouldn't intimidate him. Stussy is right here with him while they're falling off a castle. As she remarks, he shows no fear in the face of a scoop. The government trying to cover it up gives the story more legitimacy for him. They know sending a single nameless fodder agent won't stop Morgans. They also know it'll make him publish it as the biggest scoop. This is important for the government because their ruse depends on a single piece of information from being known to the world at large. The Straw Hate pirates are allies of Vivi and the Alabasta Kingdom. If this were to get out to the world, the plan to frame the revolutionary army would fall apart, given Luffy's father is the head and his sworn brother is the second in command. This is where the call from Wapol comes in. Finally, Wapol calls Morgans to leak some info. I believe the info that Wapol has is that the Straw Hate crew is allied with Vivi, as he ran into them on the way to Drum Island. He is one of the few in the world who is not their friend, that knows of their relationship, since the government hid the Straw Hate's involvement at Alabasta. If you recall, it was Morgans who published the info that Luffy and Sabo were sworn brothers after Whole Cake Island. If this incident at the Reverie involves both Alabasta and Sabo, then Morgan's learning that they're both allies of Straw Hat Luffy flips the entire dynamic of the Revolutionary Army attacking the Alabastan royalty. That is why they sent a single nameless fodder CP agent to bribe Morgans, to give him belief that this story worries them enough to hush. That action has more pull than the words of Walpole, who is pretty much known for being a punkass. So even if Morgans was to learn of the SH Alabasta connection, he wouldn't necessarily run with it, as Walpole's leak is simply hearsay compared to the action of the government trying to cover it up. This is why Dragon and company accuse Morgans of lying when they read the news, as it is something they would not do. However, Morgans believes it to be true. The second part of the huge info dump chapters has a big focus on the Rocks crew and the history behind them. This is where I believe our other two major players in the final war come in, Shanks and Blackbeard. Shanks is the son of Rox D. Zebek. Blackbeard is the one who inherited the will of Rox D. Zebek. I will start with Shanks. Below are some relevant details I'd like to highlight. The Rocks crew fell 38 years ago at God Valley in an incident that has been erased from the history books. Most notable about this incident is that Garp and Roger teamed up for it, and it involved protecting celestial dragons. Shanks is slightly older than this at 39 years of age. In the Odin flashback, Roger remarks it has been ages since he's held a baby, to which Rayleigh responds it reminds him of the good old days, implying they once had a baby involved in their adventures or on the ship. During the ceasefire of the Roger vs Whitebeard duel, a newly recruited Teach asks his crew about Buggy and Shanks, to which they tell him despite their young age they have been on Roger's ship for ages. Prior to his death, Roger tells Garp he has a child and he needs to protect him as the son does not carry the sins of the father and he deserves his own life. Garp then takes in his rival's child and raises him as his own. When Whitebeard and Shanks meet up, Whitebeard remarks that seeing Shanks' face makes the scars he got from him ache. It is said that the Rocks crew got along terribly and were often very violent to each other, with even killing occurring within the crew. If you recall, after Roger was executed, one of the first objectives of the government was to hunt down and end his bloodline. Prior to Roger, Rox was the government's biggest threat. I suspect that after Rox D. Zebek fell 38 years ago, the world government tried doing the same thing. Enter Shanks. I believe that Shanks, in similar fashion to Ace, was the surviving heir of a bloodline the world government wished to eliminate. Upon discovery of his existence, Garp had Roger take him and raise him as to not kill a newborn child. Shanks was then raised aboard Roger's ship. This all comes full circle years later when Roger asks the same of Garp with a sheepish grin on his face, knowing he will agree to it. Many believe that Blackbeard is the descendant of Rox. While I believe he 100% does have a relation to Rox, it is not familial. Instead, he is the one who inherited Rox's will. After all, he seemingly has a lot in common with Rox. Sengoku said Rox's ambition was to become king of the world and that he broke the world's taboos. Shanks suggests something similar about Blackbeard when he warns Whitebeard, he won't ever stop aiming for the top. Blackbeard has also broken the world's taboos by consuming 2 devil fruit, which was previously unheard of. His ship is named Saber of Zebek, seemingly after Rox D. Zebek. His base of operations is on Hakinosu Island, which was the same place that the Rox pirates were formed. Also the birthplace of the Davy Back fight. However, in One Piece, there is a pattern that the son does not inherit the will of their father, and oftentimes it's the exact opposite. Monkey D. Garp, his son Dragon, directly looks to overthrow the organization he works for, and his grandson is also one of their biggest threats and aims to become pirate king like his rival, Roger. Gold Roger, his son, Porgas D. Ace, completely rejected him and dedicated his life to making his pirate rival, Whitebeard, the pirate king. Kaido, his son Yamato, literally wants to be Kojiki Odin, the only person to ever scar him and someone he only shamefully defeated through trickery. Odin, while his son Momonosuke seeks to carry out his father's will, by an ironic twist of fate he ate a devil fruit that turned him into a dragon, the same form as the beast who killed his father. This is a little different, but Shanks, DZ If what I believe to be true, Shanks is the son of Rox DZ and was raised by his father's rival Gold Roger, who he respects and reveres. Shanks seeks to stop Marshall D. Teach, the man who inherited his father's evil will. If Blackbeard is aiming for the since Shanks accompanied Roger on his voyages everywhere except Laugh Tale, he at least knows important info like Charlie's predictions. I believe he is trying his best to buy time until it is Luffy's time to bring change to the world. It has become clear that the story is quickly approaching the important moment in time that Roger was too early for. Shanks, aware of this, made this bet on Luffy as a child seemingly after hearing him say the exact same words Roger said. Shanks aims to maintain balance in the world until it is Luffy's time to carry out what his captain could not. Many of his actions seem to indicate he is trying to avoid catastrophic situations that could arise until that time comes, and Blackbeard, inheritor of Rock's will, is the biggest threat to that. When Shanks warns Whitebeard about Teach, he doesn't try to prevent a quarrel altogether but says it isn't time yet. When he saves Kobe he mentions the importance of a few seconds. When he asks Teach if he wants to fight he laughs it off and he too seems to recognize it is not yet time. Most recently Shanks has gone to the Gorosei in an attempt to talk to them, most likely about Teach, in an attempt to maintain balance. I believe it's these events that will set the stage of our final war for our participants, the world government, the Revolutionary Army, Blackbeard pirates, Red Hair pirates, Straw Hat crew, and Grand Fleet. With the Alabasta royalty out of the way and a convenient scapegoat in the Revolutionary Army, the world government will move in on Alabasta under the guise of being helpful since their leaders are gone in an attempt to gain control of Pluton. Blackbeard, inheritor of Rock's will, who seems to have a lot of knowledge about the secrets of the world, will make his move to try to claim the weapon before they do. If the government is going to take it, Alabasta, then I'll claim the prize, Pluton. The Revolutionary Army, who will be blamed by the world government, and who was also once attacked by Blackbeard, will get involved in this quarrel as well in an attempt to keep the weapon out of their enemies' hands, and to retrieve Sabo if he is indeed captured. I think this will be where Shanks makes a move as well, which Oda mentioned in his year-end message, in an attempt to maintain order until Luffy is ready and to stop Blackbeard from becoming too powerful, as he is the only one that seemingly knows what he is truly capable of. We also have the internal split of the WG/CP0/Akainu Absolute Justice type and the Sword/Garp type of the military, who seem more noble in their intentions. All of these forces will collide in our final major confrontation. And of course the Straw Hat crew. The Grand Fleet will get involved as well. A number of them fought alongside Sabo and the Revolutionary Army in Dressrosa and were also present at the Reverie, where they learned of Vivi and the Straw Hat friendship. When they read the news about Alabasta and the Revolutionary Army they will know something is afoot and will be ready to spring into action. Thank you for watching all of this. This is the end of the main body of the post. At the beginning I mentioned I also have a bold fringe theory. I typically like to throw these in at the end as they're a little more out there, but I still believe baby. I will begin with the very first piece of evidence, this intriguing observation in SBS 59 and Oda's equally interesting answer to it. Oda's answer is very interesting to say the least. We've seen him play with this 2.9 thing with Kuma before as well. His bounty is 296 million. His birthday is February 9th, 2/9. so the 2.9 fruit is missing from a member of the Straw Hat crew. I think this will go to Vivi, and I'll circle back to her 2.9 connection in a bit. So re-error, how the hell is Vivi gonna end up with the fruit? Since you just read through my long-ass theory, I think the Revolutionary Army will be successful in retrieving Kuma, and that Vivi left along with them, aided by whatever sacrifice Sabo made that has been reported in the papers. If you recall, while they're going over their plan underground, Karasu mentions that even if they rescue Kuma, he might not ever be able to return to being a human. I believe this will be the case. They will rescue him and he'll simply be a shell of a person. He is only programmed to take orders from the government and the celestial dragons. While they may rescue him from slavery, there's the chance he never returns to being human again. This is where I believe the Revolutionary Army will make the decision to kill him and let him rest instead of existing as an empty husk. However, after the events of the Reverie, they decide that it's best to transfer his devil fruit power to someone who will make good use of it. Someone else who is also the leader of a nation that was allied with the government but is now an enemy in their eyes, Princess Vivi. Just like with the Marimara passing on from one sworn brother to the next, the Nikyo will go from the leader of a WG allied nation who challenged them, Bartholomew Kuma of the Sorbet Kingdom, to another leader who now faces their wrath, Princess Vivi of the Alabasta Kingdom. While we as an audience still do not understand exactly how devil fruit powers transfer after death, it seems some characters have an idea. Most notably, Blackbeard is able to take Whitebeard's power immediately after death. While this could be something unique to Blackbeard, it has been demonstrated that they can take the fruit of others and give them to their own crew, Shiryu gaining the clear fruit. Caesar Clown also has shown some knowledge of this, as he seemingly left a bag of fruit on the raft rigged to fail when Smiley was to reincarnate. The fruit then transformed into a devil fruit, and he said he'd meet Smiley again. Vegapunk also seems to have an insane breadth of knowledge when it comes to devil fruit. However, we don't have evidence of him knowing how they transfer. My theory relies on someone in the Revolutionary Army having this sort of knowledge. Perhaps Dragon or someone like Lindbergh, who seems to be a genius inventor. This would complete the pattern of all the numbered devil fruit belonging to a member of the Straw Hat crew. So how does the 2.9 fit in like I mentioned earlier? Let us go way back to the Baroque Works saga. The only reason why Vivi was able to meet up and ally with the Straw Hats to begin their journey, meet up on their way out to depart on great terms and establish a beautiful friendship, is because of two men who chose the power of friendship over all, Mr. 2 Mr. 9. It was because of Mr. 9 and Ms. Monday that Vivi was able to escape Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine. He chose their friendship and gave her an avenue to escape and reach the Straw Hats. It was because of Mr. 2 choosing his friendship with the Straw Hats that they were able to meet up with Vivi and say goodbye in this iconic scene, able to leave on beautiful terms. What were the two numbers missing from the crew's devil fruit? 2 and 9. Whose heroic actions enabled the friendship of the Straw Hat crew and Vivi to bloom? Mr. 2 and Mr. 9. Luffy equals Gomu Gomu, 5,6 5,6. Chopper equals Hito Hito, 1,10 1, 10, Robin equals Hana Hana, 8, 7 8, 7, Brooke equals Yomi Yomi. If you're still here, thank you for watching all this LMFAO.